Will our children attract toxic people? Well, without intervention, the simple answer and the unfortunate answer is yes. They are going to gravitate towards what they know. They also will, if they start experiencing negative toxic behavior, they'll equate it to the normal, familiar environment that they grew up in. Now, I know for me, that's exactly what happened. I grew up in a very toxic environment. The covert narcissistic type traits, that type of thing. So when the dynamic in my own relationship started to change, it felt familiar. I wasn't happy about it, but I was like, okay, well, I guess this is just how relationships go. This is just how it is, and I just have to accept it. Our kids learn how to thrive and survive. Well, thrive may not be the right word, but they learn how to survive in those environments because you have to. If you're growing up in that type of environment, and our kids prior to the breakup, when everything was together, they grew up in that environment. We played a role in demonstrating that behavior was acceptable. We either played into it, we validated it, maybe we even were part of the problem as well, meaning maybe we had lost control of our emotional state and couldn't be rational anymore. So we had rage type outbursts and stuff like that. So without an intervention, without some type of change, our children are conditioned to be familiar in that environment. But here's the good part about this. We can actually help our kids. We personally have started to take the active steps to learn from this situation, to try to get out of this nightmare, to learn skills and techniques and tips and tricks to be able to deal with that, right? Like the hybrid no contact and the gray rock and controlling your emotions and being mindful where you're at and what's going on. Being aware of what you're dealing with, being able to recognize when something happens, being able to recognize when you're having a panic attack, being able to recognize whenever you're being manipulated or gaslighted, being tricked, right? So now, unfortunately, we can't just sit down with our children, flip open the Narcissistic 101 handbook, and put a picture of the other parent and say, this is what the other person is. We can't do that. Guys, just before I move on, I just want to tell you that I personally have gone too far in sharing information, and it's created complications. I would have been much better staying at the abstract, not getting in detail. Even if your children actually start acknowledging what is going on, be really careful of tying it directly to the other parent, because it's ultimately it is going to complicate things and backfire, because they are going to be then trying to figure out who's telling the truth, who's embellishing, who's exaggerating, and it just complicates things. Moving on from that, the first thing is we get to show them how a real relationship is supposed to work, and that relationship can start with them. Now, I'm not necessarily mean a romantic relationship. However, if you ultimately get into that and you have a healthy relationship, that can be incredibly helpful. But we have the opportunity when we are with our children to focus on them and to demonstrate to them that we love them, that we care about them, that we're concerned for them, that love isn't conditional on however they treat us or how they whether they meet our, supply needs like the other parent. That is critical, because as soon as they realize and they can see a demonstrated way that you can interact with somebody without strings being attached, that is super important. It also gives us the opportunity to treat them with respect, to treat them as a sovereign individual, to acknowledge their wants and their needs and their desires. Yes, we still have to have boundaries and we still have to be a parent, but we can be that good parent that they need so that they understand what that relationship is supposed to be like. It also gives us the opportunity, whenever they do something that is mimicking past behavior, mimicking behavior that maybe you used to do, mimicking behavior that your ex used to do, or mimicking behavior that your ex continues to do, you have the opportunity to address it and correct it. And not using, I don't mean by using a correlation to their other parent. Focus on the situation at hand. And you can do that with their actions, or if you see something on TV or in real life or on a YouTube channel or whatever, where somebody is exhibiting behavior that's inappropriate, that falls into a narcissistic type behavior, we can use that as a learning point to say, that's not appropriate. That's not the way that you treat people. If someone treats you like that, that is not acceptable. Do not think that that's normal. It gives us a chance to try to break those stereotypes, break the mold of what they are conditioned and society as a whole is conditioned to think is acceptable. We talked about that in other videos, and I think that's a crucial problem that a lot of us have had, and that our children are going to have, where society basically says, oh, it's okay for people to act this way. And it's okay for people to act this way. Whether it's abusive or indecisive. Well, indecisive is not really a good one. But what I mean is that covert, manipulative, not really telling you what you want to hear. Not what you want to hear, but not really being forthright in your communication. And that is critical. It is critical because that is where we have the opportunity to break the cycle, to break that mold, to give our children an opportunity to see that there is something different, to see that it doesn't have to be this way, to see that they don't have to fall for the first person that love bombs them, that tells them everything that they want to hear. We can teach them that things happen in a relationship and you have to have good communication. You have to, like I said before, you have to treat people with respect, treat them with dignity, acknowledge their personal space. It's super important that we do that. Now, if we don't take the opportunity we have to try to help our children, yes, I absolutely think that our children will be a magnet for toxic, abusive people. I think it's inevitable. I think all of us out there who have grown up in environments, and not everyone has, but there's a significant portion of the viewers on this channel, and it may be you, I may be talking to you right now, that came from an abusive family of origin. And when that happens, we've already been through it, right? We've already made that mistake. We already believe the illusion that the other person was telling us because we wanted it so badly. We wanted that validation and that acceptance and that unconditional love that we thought that our narcissistic abuser would give us. And then when it started to change, we didn't recognize it. So we have a tremendous opportunity to help our children, to show them a better way, to give them an opportunity to, like I said, break the cycle, to recognize when a relationship is bad, to set appropriate boundaries so that they're not manipulated and they're not emotionally controlled. Number 3, to know when they need to get out, to know when those boundaries have been pushed and they've tried everything realistically that they can do to rectify the problem by communication, by therapy, whatever is necessary to realize this isn't right and to move on. Now, hopefully, we'll also be able to give our children the ability to not fall head over heels into a relationship, into one of those whirlwind relationships, and end up making a decision that has long-term effects, like having kids really quick, right? I mean, if we get in these relationships and we're able to recognize what's going on and exit it before that happens, then that's a better situation. But a lot of us have had kids or have kids either early on in the relationship, and then it falls apart within the first couple of years, and then you have 17 or to 18 years that you're going to have to deal with this person and interact with them. Or like in my situation, a long-term marriage where you have a whole family connected around this situation that then obliterates. So we have to take an active role in helping our children to get through this. You have to take an active role in helping yourself so that you can then help your children. It is critical. It's crucial. Okay, if you have some things that you want to add to this discussion, put it in the comments below about how you've been able to start that foundation to help your kids, or what your thoughts are on how to approach it. Leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe. There's a subscribe button right here. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. So take care. Bye.